You know that feeling when someone gives you an order and every cell in your body wants to do the opposite. When a manager micromanages your work and suddenly you can't focus. When someone tells you exactly how to think about a political issue and you feel physically repulsed. Most people assume this makes you rebellious or immature. They'll call you a contrarian, say you have authority issues, or worse, label you as someone who just can't work with others. But here's what they don't understand. Your resistance isn't about being difficult. It's about having a fundamentally different operating system. And neuroscience is starting to prove that this isn't a bug in your personality, it's a feature. Let me be clear about something up front. If you recognize yourself in what I'm describing, you've probably spent years wondering if something is wrong with you. You've tried to force yourself to be more agreeable, more compliant, more normal, and it's exhausting because you're fighting against your own wiring. So let's talk about the 5 traits that explain why you are the way you are. Trait 1. You experience commands as physical intrusions. Here's what most people don't realize about your brain. When someone issues you a direct command, especially one you didn't ask for, your nervous system doesn't process it as helpful guidance. It processes it as a boundary violation. Think about the last time someone told you to do something you were already planning to do. Maybe you were about to take out the trash, and then someone said, "Hey, take out the trash." Suddenly, you didn't want to do it anymore. That's not stubbornness. That's your brain protecting something precious. Your autonomy functions like a perimeter. Commands from people who haven't earned your trust are like someone walking into your house without knocking. The content of the command becomes irrelevant. What matters is that someone just crossed a line without permission. This is why the tone matters so much to you. A suggestion feels collaborative, a demand feels invasive. Other people don't make this distinction as sharply as you do. They can hear a command and just do the thing. For you, there's an emotional tax attached to every unsolicited order that you have to override first. And here's the part that confuses people. You're actually incredibly cooperative when you choose to be. When you decide to help, you're all in. But that decision has to come from inside you, not be imposed from outside. Trait 2. You need to understand the architecture. Most people can follow a recipe without knowing why the ingredients work together. You can't. You need to see the blueprint. This shows up everywhere. At work, when someone assigns you a task without explaining the larger strategy, you feel handicapped. In relationships, when a partner makes a rule without discussing the reasoning, you feel controlled. Even in simple situations like being told to take a different route while driving, you need to know why. This isn't about being difficult. It's about how your brain builds trust and commitment. You can't genuinely invest in something unless you understand its foundation. Following blind instructions feels like walking through a dark room. You might do it, but you're tense the entire time, waiting to hit something. The fascinating part is that once you understand the why, you become one of the most dedicated people anyone will meet. You'll go beyond what was asked because you're not just executing orders anymore. You're solving a problem you now understand. But getting you to that point requires someone to treat you like an intelligent collaborator instead of a tool to be deployed. And unfortunately, most management structures, most relationships, most institutions aren't built that way. Trait 3. Your identity is non-negotiable. Here's where things get deeper. You don't just resist being told what to do, you resist being told who to be. When someone tries to reshape your opinions, your values, or your worldview to match theirs, something inside you locks down completely. It doesn't matter if they're right. It doesn't matter if everyone else agrees with them. The moment you feel someone trying to rewrite your internal code, you become unmovable. This is different from being closed-minded. You'll change your mind constantly based on new evidence or better arguments. What you won't do is change your mind because someone is pressuring you to. The pressure itself becomes proof that you shouldn't comply. Think about peer pressure growing up. While other kids adopted beliefs to fit in, you probably became more yourself. When everyone started liking the same music, you found different music. When everyone shared the same political views, you questioned them harder. Not to be contrarian, but because conformity felt like erasing yourself. This trait makes you incredibly resilient against manipulation, cults, and groupthink. You're the person who sees through marketing, who questions viral movements, who doesn't fall for charismatic leaders. But it also means you've spent a lot of time on the outside looking in. Trait 4. You'd rather fail on your terms than succeed on someone else's. This is the trait that confuses people most. You'll turn down opportunities that other people would kill for. A high-paying job with a controlling boss. A relationship with someone who needs you to be different. A project that requires you to compromise your vision. From the outside, this looks self-sabotaging. People think you're throwing away good things because you're too proud or too picky. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is that you have a different definition of success. For you, success isn't about external achievements. It's about internal alignment. You'd rather struggle financially while building something you believe in than be comfortable executing someone else's mediocre vision. You'd rather be alone than twist yourself into a shape that fits someone else's needs. This doesn't mean you can't work with others. It means you need collaboration, not subordination. You need to be a partner in the process, not a cog in someone else's machine. The cost of this trait is real. You've probably changed jobs more than most people. You've walked away from relationships others would have tried to save. You've restarted when you could have just endured, and people have judged you for it. But here's what they miss. You're not running from commitment. You're running from dishonesty. Staying in situations that violate your autonomy would require you to lie to yourself every single day. And you're biologically incapable of that kind of sustained self-betrayal. Trait 5. You can spot illegitimate authority. Instantly, most people have been conditioned to respect authority based on position. Teacher, boss, parent, expert. The title carries weight automatically. For you, titles mean nothing. You respect competence. You respect wisdom. You respect people who have earned credibility through their actions and their thinking. But you don't respect authority for its own sake. This is why you've probably clashed with managers who are less skilled than you. Why you question teachers who couldn't explain their reasoning. Why you push back against family members who demanded respect without demonstrating it. Your brain runs a constant audit. Is this person actually qualified to direct me? Do they understand what they're asking? Are they operating from genuine expertise or just positional power? When someone passes your audit, you'll follow them anywhere. You become their most loyal ally because you've consciously chosen to trust them. But when they fail your audit, no amount of formal authority will make you comply. You'll do the minimum required or you'll leave. This makes you seem arrogant to people who confuse respect for authority with respect for hierarchies. But there's a crucial difference. You're not disrespecting the person. You're refusing to surrender your judgment to someone who hasn't proven they deserve it. What this all means. If you have these 5 traits, you've probably been told your whole life that you need to be more flexible, more agreeable, more willing to just go with the flow. You've been made to feel like your need for autonomy is a personal failing. But here's the truth. Humanity needs people like you. We need people who ask why, who resist bad orders, who can't be manipulated into groupthink, who value truth over comfort. You're not broken, you're not damaged, you're not even particularly rare, though you might feel alone because people like you don't cluster in traditional structures. They're scattered across entrepreneurship, freelancing, art, research, any field where autonomy is possible. The key is learning to build a life that works with your wiring instead of against it. That might mean self-employment, It might mean finding the rare organizations that value independent thinking. It might mean accepting that you'll never fit perfectly into conventional structures, and that's okay. Your autonomy isn't something to fix, it's something to honor, because the alternative, spending your life overriding who you are to please people who will never really understand you, that's not compromise, that's erasure, and you're not built for that.